I fell in love with myself probably almost 10 years ago. I think sometimes we think that we should have this level of confidence that people perceive us to have. But for me, it was a combination of experiences. I'd had a really bad breakup in my personal life. I had an experience academically that I found myself no longer in school. And I think that combination, as well as a few deaths in the family of people who were very close to me, just made me realize that I had to pursue things that gave me joy. And so it was then in that situation that I made the decision that I will only do things if it gives me joy. And what an amazing experience that has been, because as a result, I say no to events, to commitments, to jobs, to opportunities, because what's paramount to me is my well being. And if it doesn't give me joy, I don't do it. So it's a new year, it's 2016. I can truly say 10 years ago, I fell in love with myself, and it's been an amazing experience. Happiness means to me a bliss, a state of bliss. And for everyone that's different, it's a peacefulness that comes over you. I think that's what doing what makes you happy, what brings you joy in all areas of life. That's what happiness means to me. And I think it's something that we don't often ask people. And for sure, Black women are never asked about being happy. So, what happiness means to me is that state of bliss where there's peace and an enormous joy and peace. I think it's important to recognize that the world sees me first as a Black woman. That being said, I think that's how I present to the world, that it's their first impression. So depending on the different schemas that people have and their perspectives on how I should act and think and talk, and behave and what interests I should have, I think that that is, in fact, a very real issue, particularly the experiences of Black women in this country. As a result of slavery, and even today as a result of different acts of violence that are perpetuated both within our communities and onto our communities by others. So I think it's important to recognize that there is this external force that looks at Black women a certain way. But that being said, my reaction to it is all that I can control. And so that's something I've had to learn over the years, that regardless of what people think of me, that there is a way that I can counter that. But I think particularly living in America and the experience of Black Americans, here, it's so important for us to take care of ourselves in terms of health and well-being. And for Black women, who often, what Zora Neale Hurston calls us, mules of men, unfortunately, that is the way much of the world views us. And I think often how we view ourselves, we see that Black women take ownership of this idea of being a strong Black woman. And I reject that. I think that being strong has sometimes created more situations that have created unhealthy women. And so I'm really passionate about dismantling that concept of the strong Black woman, and having healthy Black women, healthy and fit Black women, because you can be healthy and not fit, but often it's great to be both. And so I think that my experience as a Black woman has definitely shaped my research, shaped how I view the world. But when I travel internationally, I also noticed that, the perspectives are different based on people's interactions with African American women. And so how it's affected my mental health and well-being is that I make yoga almost a daily practice in my life. Meditation is so important. Prayer life, my spiritual life is something that truly does sustain me, as well as my religious life. I think it's important that I take care of myself, because to counter these negative perspectives and negative reactions that are constant in media and in my daily life. And so trying to manage that, that's very real in terms of my experiences and how it could affect my well-being. So yes, being a Black woman has affected my mental health and well-being, but I don't let it rule my mental health and well-being, how people view my racial and gender identity. I'm a major believer in, writing down your purpose, your vision, things that you want out of life. And so I have Post-its all over my house. I have a vision board. And I also, as I mentioned earlier, maintain my well-being. And so that's how I would honor myself today and every day. So there are affirmations, paying attention to my vision board, meditating on good things, staying positive, removing the negative people and situations from your life. And so I made a promise to myself about 15 years ago to remove people from my life who weren't adding to it, or situations that weren't adding to it in a positive way. And I did that, and I continue to do that. And I think it's that constant reassessing that needs to occur. So I encourage all of you to do the same. Thank you.